Welcome to another episode of Tactical Gear Guy. Today what we're going to do is go ahead and strip and clean my Excell H&R Excell semi-auto shotgun. I've had a few requests to do this from my YouTube channel, and I appreciate the request. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get back around to it. It's kind of one of those things where, life happens. So basically what we're going to do is, again, we're going to strip this down, and I'm not going to take it all the way down to, the bare minimum. I'm just going to kind of do the basic field strip of it and get it to where we can, just kind of show you how it all comes apart and the important points to clean and reassembly, if I can do that in any kind of timely manner. So basically, let's go ahead and get started. I have loosened a few things here. The brace, I went ahead and loosened that up a little bit. So as you can see, I just kind of take that off and slide that off. We'll just kind of leave stuff around here. This is my extender tube. This is something you might want to be careful when you remove, because there is a spring in here. So there you go. There's the spring, and we slide that off and throw that up on our parts. Take the spring out. Obviously, you want to inspect it whenever you clean it. Obviously, it's not too bad as far as being dirty or anything, so we'll just kind of set that aside. And for those of you that have seen my previous video, this is the lock nut, electrical lock nut that I kind of outlined, and as you can see, it's under pressure as well, so we want to make sure that that doesn't just pop off. So there's that little lock nut. And I made a little plastic washer. Obviously, it's seen better days. It's getting kind of worn, so I might want to think about replacing that in the near future. Then, as you can see, it's under a little pressure. We go ahead and slide it apart, trying to keep it somewhat organized here. There we go. And of course, we can slide off the foregrip as well, if I can get that to come off. There we go. It just slides all the way off. And again, pretty basic stuff. We'll just set all this stuff aside. There's the barrel. Obviously, you want to run a patch down through it with your guide rod. And I obviously I've got my little brush on there. I just want to kind of show you all the little things I use. First, I run the brush down. Then I run down some patches with some hops on it, just to kind of break up all the garbage. And then once I've got that all done, I kind of lube up my little sponge squeegee thing here and run it up and down a few times, just to kind of get a nice little clean bit of oil in there. And as you can see, she's not too bad. I clean it on a semi-regular basis, so it's not too bad as far as cleaning is concerned. Up here, you do have to remember that there is and there's my little release that I picked up just to kind of extend it so that I don't have to press on that little button. So we'll just leave all this as she's falling apart here. Sorry. Let's put all this aside up here, and then the seal, you have to remember that goes on at the very last. So we're going to put that off to the side and hope that I don't forget it. So here's and you can see there's it's quite a bit of buildup on that. The piece that actually directs the gases when you fire the shell. It directs the gases so that it pumps the shotgun, basically. But you want to keep all that kind of in order. And this all comes apart. I'm not real thrilled about the idea of pulling all this apart. I just wanted to kind of show you what you look like. Here, in fact, let's do this. Pull this back, lock it back. And there's a little button under here I pushed in order to pull that back. Sorry, I went ahead and checked it before I started the video. Yes, you definitely want to make sure you safety check this to make sure that there's no rounds in it, and I do apologize. I did not check that prior to pulling it all apart. It's kind of one of the things I just automatically do, so I don't think about it. But anyway, other than that, basically what you want to do is you want to take a relatively clean rag here, and you want to spray all this with hops. And I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of the spritz here just to kind of give you a clue. I just kind of spray a little bit there and clean all this up. You want to get the majority of it off. I mean, obviously, if you let this sit, you'll get a little bit more, but the bottom line is you want to get the majority of this material off of here so that you can, you know, have a nice clean surface. In here there are, let's go ahead and we can go ahead and pull our pin here. Sorry, I just put that aside. Basically, that's your bolt carrier group. I'm going to pull that apart from time to time and clean it up as well. So there's that. And there's your slide mechanism. Again, you want to clean all this out. And I won't bore you with trying to do that while we're sitting here. But anyway, you just want to make sure that, you know, when you do this, you kind of put your parts in a way that you don't forget how they go back together, because that's a bit of a challenge sometimes. So just keep that in mind. So as it is, again, that's the bolt carrier. This obviously is where the extractor is right here, and the firing pin comes in from this end and fires the round that's in here in the chamber and goes off from there. So tell you what, basically what I'm going to do without boring you here is I'm going to clean all this up and oil it up a bit here, and then we'll come back and we'll put it all back together for you. So hang in for a couple minutes and we'll get back to you. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, I've kind of cleaned things up a bit. I just wanted to make sure everything was nice and clean. You know, I cleaned up around everything, inside of everything, ran a rag down inside to kind of clean everything out and make sure that all the grime and everything's out of there. And in the barrel itself, I wanted to kind of point this out real quick here, and I'm trying to see if maybe I can get this to where y'all can see it. Somewhere, if I can get you to get in there, you can see there's a couple of ports down inside the barrel. You want to make sure that those are extremely clear and clean, and it's kind of difficult to get in there because what you want is you want to make sure that those ports are clear and clean due to the fact that this is a gas-operated weapon. It has to transfer all the gases gases from the barrel in so that it cycles the action. And if those ports are dirty, that's not going to work very well. So and you're going to have jams, and you're going to have, you know, failure to ejects and failure to feeds and all kinds of things. So those two ports that are in there are very important to keep clear, and what you want to do is spray some clean solution in there, get in there best you can with, you know, I use the rag and clean it out as best I can, and then clean it from the other side as well as best I can. But this will cause more jams and more failure to feed than just about anything else with the weapon. So if you keep that clear, you got 90% of your issues taken care of. So that being said, that's all done. Now, what we want to do is we want to reassemble. Now, you've got your carrier group here. There's a little hook right here. You lay that on top of that. There's a lip right here. You want that to lay on top of that. And then on the other end over here, there's a little slide in. You slide that in, make sure it's centered, and it should snap down. Everything should just slide back in, just like so. And I've already oiled it, so I'm all good. But you want to oil that first, and then you want to snap this little button down here. There's a little button underneath, right under here. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there's a little button under there. Snap that, and that way it locks open. Okay, now let's go back to this. This is how you decide whether you're going to use light loads or heavy loads. If you're using heavy loads, it goes this way. The arrow goes forward for heavy. That's high brass. If you're using, if you're going to do duck hunting or, something bigger, you want to go with heavy. If you're just doing, skeet shooting and, I do 3-gun with this. I use number 7.5, number 7 and 8. I like it, and it needs to be on the light side, so you feed that on there next. That goes up next. Then you've got your little O-ring. You want to check it to make sure and that it's nice and clean and that there are no cuts in it. You can get these pretty cheap online. You can buy them, I don't know, 8 or 10 at a pack for 15 bucks or whatever. But you want to make sure that that's nice and clean and nice and no cuts or anything. Slide that over nice and careful, because there are threads at this end that can actually abrade that seal. So you slide that on there, and we go all the way back with that because we can. And we want to slide our barrel on. We slide our barrel on. As you can see, you want to slide it in to make sure that the breech is all in the right spot. And that's all good there. Then, oh, I think I forgot something here. Sorry, my bad. I want to slide this on first. Except for I'm doing it backwards, kids. So this goes on this way because the little end goes in the front. Slide that all the way back. Then this goes on. Sorry. Trying to be organized here, and sometimes it doesn't work. Go figure. So all of that being said, there's that. Then what we want to do is get our little, I need to replace this, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it back on there for now, just for illustrative purposes. And we want to slide that back on. Make sure I'm in the camera here. Slide it forward. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Then we put our spring back in. There is a front and a back to these springs. The coiled end that's got the, it's flat, you want to be back towards the follower. This end that is cut off, to make sure that I've got the right amount of spring tension, I cut this end off and kind of bent it in so that it didn't drag on the sides of the cylinder inside. So this end is always at the muzzle end, and this end's always at the breech end. So let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, there's going to be a little bit of resistance on that. So there's all that. You want to feed it in a little bit at a time, just so you've got some in there. And then we'll put our extender on here, and you can see it just kind of pops. But that screws on, just like so. And again, all of this you want snug. I'm not snugging it up right now because I just want to get it together for you. But you want, before you tighten this tube down, you want to make sure that that's nice and snug down, and that the, oh, and I forgot to put my release back in. I'll go ahead and do that in a minute here. But basically you pull this out, then you can slide this underneath so that you've got a bigger release pin. And so anyway, let's snug that down, and then we put our brace on here. I can get it to play nice. So then that goes there. We snug that down. You want to have one of these just because this is an awful lot of tube hanging off the end here, and you want to make sure that this doesn't wobble and cause, again, misfeeds and that kind of thing. So that, all of that being said, got a clean gun. Again, make sure when you've got the barrel off that you clean those ports, because that is a critical issue with how the gun feeds, how it functions, how it cycles. So you want to make sure that that's all clean. Other than that, again, you're going to want to run, something down the muzzle just because you want to make sure it's all clean and clear. Also, when you're done with all this, I usually take and spritz a little bit of oil on the carrier group just to keep that all nice and smooth. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it wasn't too long-winded. I know it probably was, but anyway, hope you liked it. If you would be so kind, go ahead and like and subscribe. That'd help me out a lot. Otherwise, have a great day, and let me know if you have any other questions down below, and we'll get back to you as quick as I can. Have a good one.